Hello, my name is Stephen Simon, and I'm a student at the University of Texas at Brownsville. This short tour will illustrate 4 areas in Whyville, starting with Snowboard Mountain. Snowboard Mountain is a year-round snow retreat in Whyville. One of the more interesting things to do here is to have timed races down the mountain. The next stop will be Vampire Power, where you can log all of your appliances, listing how much power each one consumes. Once 15 appliances have been measured, you're at the engineering level. Third, we'll visit the House of Illusions. This is where you can't and shouldn't believe your eyes. There's also a Geek Speak lounge where you can discuss ideas while interacting with other students. The last stop on our tour will be the Climate Center. There are 2 versions to choose from here, inside and outside. It features temperature and CO2 graphs and can help you in lowering carbon emissions. It also has a very cool carbon calculator. So, let's get started. So here we are at Snowboard Mountain. And here I am, and I'm going to head over to the starting gate by clicking over at Start. And now that I'm ready, I click here to start my timer, and I will go down this course that you see here, making sure that I'm on the other side of each flag, just like a regular downhill race. So here we go. And that was 14.6 seconds. Well, this is kind of fun to do. It would be nice to have more difficult courses to navigate. But essentially, that is what Snowboard Mountain is. So, here we are at Vampire Power. And we want to go inside. Once inside, we have all of these appliances that we can look at to see how much power they consume. So let's start with this blender. It's a good one to start with. So, it says that someone is using it. Click on the meter button to measure this appliance in watts. So let's look at dollars first. Keeping that appliance plugged in costs 77 cents per day and puts 2.14 pounds of CO2 per day into the atmosphere, meaning the energy that is required to run it produces that much. In kilowatts, 4.56 kilowatts per day. So we can turn it off. Shouldn't turn it off while somebody's using it. Let's look at one more while we're here. Let's look at this MP3 player like an iPod. This is a very common thing that you keep plugged in. It runs about $0.01 a day to charge it and uses about 0.03 pounds of CO2 and about 0.05 kilowatts hours per day, which is very negligible. So that gives you an idea of how this is useful to measure your power consumption inside the house. There's also an outside feature. And this gives you an explanation of what Vampire Power is and has a nice FAQ associated with it. There's also a real data piece that shows what everyone has been measuring at home. These are the users, the contributors, what the type of device was, the brand, the model, and how much power consumption it was using at the time. I thought that was pretty nice. All right, moving on. Here we are now in the House of Illusions. Over here is the Geek Speak area that I was telling you about in the introduction. But more importantly, here's the gallery. Let's go inside. I like the 2D gallery instead of the 3D gallery because it loads so much faster. So, here we are in room 1. Where did the middle peg come from? Again, the illusion is that this is just a U shape. Where did this one come from? Are there holes inside or outside? Again, it depends on how you look at it. Does the cube pop in and out this way or this way? You decide. And here, which step is the lowest? Let's take a look at the next room. Which red line is longer? This one or this one? Which white bar is longer? This one or this one? Which line is longer? And how much longer is one diagonal than the other? There are several rooms to choose from, but you get the idea that there's plenty to discuss here in the House of Illusion. Let's move over to the Climate Center. Finally, we will conclude this tour at the Climate Center, which is quite extensive. These are our options here outside in the time machine, a bulletin board system, which is like a blog, a link to The Inconvenient Truth, the book by Al Gore, temperature and CO2 graphs, frequently asked questions, how you can help lower your carbon emissions, and a very nice carbon calculator. So now that we're inside, let's go over here and we'll just take a look here. Talks about Al Gore's book. Over here in the time machine, we can see what it looked like in the past. Here's where we can record data. And here's where we can change destinations to see CO2 and temperature. Here's the CO2 graph for Whyville Square. So what you do here is you collect temperature from different points, the years being this way, and CO2 measurement that way. So back at the main page, let's just have a quick look at the carbon calculator while we wind up. So this carbon calculator is about what you use in transportation, cell phones, what you eat, what you recycle, and some very nice questions for discussion. This concludes my presentation of 4 points in the Whyville tour. Thank you very much.